Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to another episode of the Social Work Friends Podcast. I'm your host, Bash Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. Appreciate the love and support. Gracias a todos por su apoyo. You continue to follow the podcast on all social media platforms, on Instagram at the Social Work Friends Podcast, Twitter, X, whatever Elon calls it, at Social Work Rants, and Facebook, aka Meta. Type in the Social Work Rants podcast, hit that like button, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that red subscribe button, and however you listen to the podcast, subscribe, rate the podcast. Any feedback would really appreciate it. So, yet of course, the podcast swag. We got the shirt, got the hoodie. Go to triumphthroughpain.myshopify.com and get your up to date T-shirt. Get that new hoodie out. It's hoodie season, even though this weather is interesting, to say the least. That you be sweating bullets if you're wearing a hoodie outside, depending what part where you're at currently. My guess is this time is no stranger to the podcast. We on the third time. We gonna get to five. That way you do the five time Booker T.
Absolutely.
and piss some people off while you do that. So, Justin Gillespie is no stranger to the podcast. We first connected back during COVID in 2020, and again a year or two later. So, and we've done a panel together. So, uh, warning: there will be some. We already started, some wrestling references. We are both avid wrestling fans, especially of the current industry related to wrestling. So you might hear some wrestling jargon. I'm somehow related to social work, but just forewarning that especially WrestleMania 40 is like months away. Literally, it'll be here before before you know it, and there'll be a lot of wrestling content.
I'm trying to figure out where they're going with it this year too, because like the storylines are just like they're going everywhere with everything, and everything is like so good right now. Like I feel like wrestling's in a really good peak compared to where it's been maybe the last few years or so with COVID. So and I just don't know where they're gonna go with anything right now, but in like a really good way. Not in a no, the writers don't know what they're doing type of thing right now. Just
Exactly. There will be some tax money saved up specifically for for WrestleMania week. This Philly's only an hour away from me, so
I've
I'm
looked up the ticket prices for those, and I almost had a heart attack. So I was really blessed that I at least got to go to WrestleMania. I got to go to SummerSlam in Detroit. So
okay.
that was really good, dude. And I got to see my first cash in too. So that was really cool.
How much are the tickets going for now? Because I saw it when it first came out, and I was like, I'm not doing this.
I haven't even looked because even when I looked the last time, everything was nearly sold out anyway.
Mm,
So and it was like I saw $800 to $1,000 for Skyline. So it was like I'm
insane.
not paying $1,000 for the I was there tickets.
No, absolutely not. I'll spend meeting the wrestlers and all these different events and save some money that way. so
Exactly.
we recently were both featured or been was on the social work wealth conference, and shout out to Eva Ford for having us and even doing this conference. It was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to go back and check out the all the replays of all the stuff. 'Cause I was like, which one do I want to pick? Like, there's so many of them. Even the times I went on, I was like, oh man, I wish I wasn't going on right now because I'll be watching such and such give a presentation. So, how was that for you? Like, just kind of give your own synopsis about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good from what I've seen, right? So, like the weekend, or yeah, the week of that the week of that conference, it was probably one of the busiest like weeks of my life already, and then taking on like the fact of this conference going on, and then having my own day because I did Friday. it was just a lot to keep up with because like I had like my own clients I was seeing that week, and then on top of it, I had a marketing event like booked out like I think before Eva even asked me to do it. So I was already doing something that evening. So it was just a lot of craziness, but like I was trying to piece everything together, and they were really active on the stories too, which was really helpful because sometimes I just need to like, I'm from TikTok, so we see everything very shortly. We get like the 1 minute videos, the 15-second video. So the fact I could just see everything going on just really quickly and getting like everything that was going on, it looked like it was popping, and I can't wait to see more of it. Actually, I think we just got the replay. Like, what was it yesterday or something? I can't
Yeah, we
remember.
got
I
it.
gave him,
We got it today. I saw it
oh,
today.
it was today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't even went through the replays and all that yet. So like,
Yeah, I
just
haven't
from
either.
what
I
I've
just saw
done.
the email that I saw the email today. So I'll
Okay.
spend some of the weekend to go back on it.
Mm-hmm. But it was really good too because I was like telling people about it, and her keynote speakers that she had, right? It was interesting because like I noticed whenever I told people, they either knew one person or they knew the other person because I told people like Stedman Graham's gonna be here on Friday, and people were like, oh my god, and they had no idea who Stacy was. And then like I was telling my wife, like, yeah, Stedman Graham was like coming, and she was like, who's that? I said, well, that's Oprah's. I was like, Oprah's boo thing, whatever, right? And she goes, I didn't even know Oprah had like a husband or whatever he is. Like, she didn't even know that. But then I told her like about Stacy's, and she's like, immediately, she goes, I love those chips. So I was like, it was just weird to know who knew who, like
Right.
who was knew what was. Yeah.
I'm still baffled that the Stacy from Stacy Pita Chips is a social worker. I was like, what?
Dude, I was like reading up on her story and everything and like how she makes chips. And I realized like pita chips are like unusually easy to make. So I was like, oh my God. Like she did this, like she started them just by like having like a food cart stand or whatever
Mhm.
for one of her other businesses. And she's had people wait. And I was like, I'm about to do this with my practice and start making chips and I'm going to sell them.
Yeah, it is a fascinating story. Just whole talk was fascinating, and Stedman was like on a whole other level. It was just that was
Mm-hmm.
him talking was just the price of admission right there. And you need to come to my city in 2024. They're already talking about the next conference is going to be in New York. I don't know how that's going to happen because definitely the price needs to go up to do anything in New York. So.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I would love to come to New York. So, hey.
Shoot, I gotta get my foot ready for that 3 hour drive back home just to go. We got WrestleMania tickets. I'm about to like save money for hotels in New York. New York is crazy right now. It's crazy, hella expensive.
I was like, New York is going to be like that's look, that's where you want to have a wealth conference because that's where people are dedicated coming.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so every time I have you on, you seem like you're doing like oh, you got something new going on. What's been going on since you last been on?
Yeah, so God, I'm trying to think. Well, I think where I was last with you, I was actually recording it. I was doing my licensure for Indiana at the time, so I was actually yeah, I was I think I was in Fort Wayne actually. So I was getting like a lot of logistical stuff kind of then taken care of for my practice. And then like literally since this was like for context, y'all, this was like November or December of like 2020, like what year is it now? 2022. I was like, so this has like been like 10 months ago or so at this point. And so yeah, we were getting some logistical things kind of handled and taken care of for my practice, for me to be able to provide out of state services and things like that. And I mean, like back when I was talking to Bass, I was really just kind of getting started. I think we had about maybe 5 or 6 people at my own practice, and my group practice at that point we had already gotten like 25 people, and I've since phased out the group practice work and whatnot, brought all those people over. So in June of this year, about 4 months ago, I ended up bringing on those people to my own practice. I opened my own building here in town, and I would say about a month after we open, my own caseload, I think, doubled to about like 50. We have about 55, 56 people with me now. And now we have like people we're hiring now. So it just blew up like crazy over here for my practice.
That's amazing. Congrats on that. Well, no, when we talk about scaling and business, how did that happen for you?
Like for me, well, how it happened, I mean, like, because I have a presence on TikTok, so that already helped a little bit. But I mean, it wasn't like the thing that like made it right. So like to have like first of all, to have any therapist in town now that's offering anything in person, right? A lot of people told me you didn't even have to do this in person. You have a specialty that's like good enough. You don't need to expend on it, whatever, right? But
Right.
for context, my specialty is ADHD for people who don't know about me or haven't caught on to any conversations we're having or anything like that. So for me, it's like one of those things where it's like I could have easily just done this on telehealth. Like I could have probably, if I had the patience to do it and whatnot, I probably could have just had an easy 10 to 3, 4 days a week, take people that way and make a really good solo practice. And honestly, I probably could have done this honestly cash pay, like straight up 250 cash pay. Like my specialty is like in that demand that people are willing to pay that. But
Mm,
so my core values as a business person too is I want to be able to provide accessibility. So we do take insurance, and then more recently we started taking Medicaid people, and that's just a core
mm,
value thing of mine, right? So people are on here like thinking, how am I going to make money with Medicaid? You're probably not, but that's just a core value of mine, right? And actually, you can go and make money with Medicaid if you really want to get into it, but that's a conversation for another day. But like just for the purposes of like a solo practitioner, like I just wanted to do that, right? So but before we even took Medicaid, we blew up. Like we were taking like top commercial line insurance and whatnot. And as soon as they found out that a therapist had like an office here, right? It just blew up. It blew up all over Wayne County. And so now I have people all over here who are, I have therapists who ask me, can I do consult sessions with you for, a case or whatnot. I have people sending me referrals left and right, just months later too. Um, yeah, just by and even just saying that we even just on basic things like psychology today, just by saying we're available um in the niche that we do, right?
mm,
That's just been blowing up like crazy. So it took off. We have therapists who, when I don't even make posts about it, asking me, "Are we hiring now?" And then more recently, I even had a doctor recently apply to our practice, wanting to do prescription stuff. So,
oh,
we're going to be
nice.
looking into that. We're young, yeah. So we're going to be looking into that for 2024 and see what we want to do there. But that's something I've really always wanted to do, was to be able to, have just like integrative healthcare just all over the board, including holistic healthcare too. So even outside of medication and traditional talk therapy too.
No, that's great. Well, when we go into like like I know you use your TikTok for it to get patients, but like is there any, like a marketing plan or like stuff like how are you getting these clients, like where they're finding you at?
Yeah, so I mean, there's two parts to my marketing plan, right? So the TikTok and social media growth. So that's one of them, right? And that's part of like very multi-step level plan, because right now we're evolving away not evolving away from TikTok, but we're starting to do more stuff on Instagram. We're exploring more options to make us more search engine optimization friendly, meaning that you're Googleable basically. So we're doing a lot of stuff like that. With our content, but we're also making sure that we're able to repurpose content. So one of those things what I'll do is, if you look at my captions over on my ADHD therapist page, you'll see that most of my posts have very lengthy captions. They're very much set up in a way that is not only just readable, but so you have your video that you see, you have your video with the text that you read, or you hear what I say or whatever's going on. But then you also have a piece that you can read too. So we're developing content that's consumable on all parts, but then we're also making it search engine optimization friendly. So not only it's picking up in the search engines of Instagram and TikTok, but it's also picking up on the search engines of Google. And because my website is actually connected to all of my social media stuff, my website is getting boosted in the search results as well too. So in addition to that side of it, the other part of our marketing plan right now is very much localized marketing. So before we were doing very much a broad approach. We were doing like in the state of Michigan. We offer telehealth for the specialty type of thing. We have that what we're still doing, but we're also making sure we're doing efforts to go into Facebook community groups, make sure we're throwing actual community events and things like that. We threw a open house when we opened in June. And this is my first open house I ever did. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if one person would show up, 20 people would show. I don't know how it worked. So about 7 people showed up, and out of those 7, I 2 or 3 I think ended up becoming clients. And what I learned from that moment, that doesn't sound like a lot, but really, if you think about it, right, the average insurance is paying about out like 100 in Michigan anyway. It kind of varies by state, but the average insurance will, when you look at them all, will pay about, let's say, $100, right? And the ones that we take, actually, the most of it pays way more than that. Just so everybody's clear. But let's say that pays you out like $100. You're looking at, for my style of therapy, we're looking at typically an average of 6 months you're in and out. We're not usually the therapists that stick around for 5, 6, 7 years for most of our people. We want you in, we want you out, we want you moving on with life. So with that being said, that's about 24 sessions, give or take. You're looking at, for an event that I spent about close to maybe $1,000 on, which, by the way, I overspent way too much on my open house. I probably could have spent like $100, just so everyone's clear, because I didn't know what to buy. So I bought food. I fed the neighborhood. We handed out the food to restaurants after, and I think we got referrals from that too, by the way. But like literally, like for me to spend $1,000, and then I made about double that back, and I significantly underspent. Now I know how to do a cheaper one and make way more money back, right? So, and it got a lot of brand exposure too, because even people coming in from it now, there are even people who didn't even attend that event. They were just like, "Oh, I saw a few months ago you had an event going on, and I remembered you, and now I want you for something." So it just, we want to make sure we're being active in our community, whether it's actually in person or online. One of the things I actually do too is I do a bi-weekly webinar just talking about the basics of ADHD for people who might not know anything about it. It's a really generalist one, and we're actually coming out with more tailored ones too. But it's for individuals, it's for parents who maybe think their kid has ADHD, and we also have a section in it that would be appropriate for healthcare providers too. So doctors, social workers, therapists, things like that want to learn. So this is kind of like our 2 phases of our marketing plan in a nutshell.
No, I like that, and I didn't want to gloss over the open house and just I'm thinking myself even like today, like kind of because I went to a there's a new bookstore that opened up today. It was like a half hour, 45 minutes from me, just to and like possibility of maybe throwing my having a book signing at a bookstore, and like thinking about like possible activities for even try to squeeze in the rest of this year somehow, or definitely into 2024, just kind of and just reaching out to different bookstores in my community, or trying to reach out to certain like grad schools or within like an hour and a half radius or whatever, just kind of really think about planning or stuff for 2024 related to the business, and really kind of like you know I hired a business coach, and trying to try to eventually see kind of integrate everything that what I'm trying to do for next year.
That'd be amazing too. That's actually a really good idea. Teaming up with smaller businesses. I've learned just with so we were trying to market a journal right now, right? So I actually have an executive functioning journal, and we're looking to maybe do something with it maybe closer to March. But our initial strategy that we were going after local libraries, so like government entities, things like that, to do it at. And I thought that these type of entities were easy to get into as far as like this type of stuff went, just because like I was gonna do like a panel event, and like I see stuff going on at libraries all the time. And every library is so different. Like the one closest to me, they only do for nonprofits. This one only does for this. This one only does for this. This one pays if you have this type of nonprofit, or this type of for-profit business, but not this. It's a thing. So I've
Yeah, it
kind of just
is.
learned. So we decided to push this off into spring, just for the pure reason of I'd rather just pay to not be inconvenienced and stressed out, if I'm being completely honest, and
No, it's
probably
true.
get a better and probably get a better venue for what I'm trying to do too, right? Because the events I'm trying to do honestly are free. They're like public talks to just raise awareness and whatnot. And so a lot of people think you should charge for type of events like this. This is actually kind of how I got a lot of my following too, if we want to go back into it, because a lot of my resources that I do, I kind of took the Gary Vee method of things. If anybody doesn't know who
Mm-hmm.
Gary Vee is, he's a business influencer, coach, things like that. He is very much big on, for everything that you see somebody charging for, give it away for free, because you want eyeballs on your product, you want eyeballs on your services, because the idea behind it is, wow, if you're giving this thing away for free, like what is your paid content or your
Mm-hmm.
paid services, right? And so that's really what we think of our services and our therapies, that we are so good at what we do and we are so needed at our niche that we could probably easily just charge for everything we do, right? We could charge for every little nitpick. We're going to give a half of this away for free and give the other half away dirt cheap and take your insurance, right?
Right.
And I think that's a big factor in how we filled up so quickly. There's so many practices nowadays that are, one, doing telehealth, and two, being insurance based only, or not insurance based only, cash based only. And I don't diss those businesses by any means, but what I do find with a lot of my people that I work with, so I also do consulting with marketing and stuff like that too, is a lot of these businesses that are doing that, they're under, how do I say it? They're not niche down enough, and they're not providing anything different. But they're listening to these people saying, charge what you're worth, charge what you're worth, right? I know what I have to offer is cash based, top tier level. I don't have to take a Medicaid client to save my life. I
Mm-hmm.
want to, right? So for me, the fact that we take insurance and we provide such a great quality of it, it's causing our practice to just have an influx. SEO helps, social media helps, but really what it comes down to is, what is your actual product or service and how quality based is it?
Right. No, that's good info, and yeah, I do see a lot of stuff. Charge what you're worth, and there's always that imposter syndrome of how much should you charge, or charge more, and we social workers, so we kind of like empathize with the people. Like we low key, and recession, and the government refuses to say that, and like obviously inflation, and is like people struggling. Some people struggling more now than they were before COVID happened. So it's like but yeah, I mean it's a lot going on. How is dealing with the insurance companies?
I have a biller, so I don't deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of watch money come in, to be honest with you. I love my biller so much, and I have so many people who tell me that I could get a cheaper biller, but I love my biller so much. My biller is a small business. So she has her own little solo business that her and her husband run. And essentially, and that's actually why I went with it, because that's exactly how me and my wife run ours. It's like, even no matter how big we get, we want it to still feel like a small firm, right? And so that's why I kind of went with her. With that being said, she charges 7% for what she does, and a lot of people say you could literally get someone for 2 or 3%. I don't really care about that, because the personal touches that she does for our practice makes it so worth it to me. There's so many people who even say you could just learn to do insurance yourself and keep all that money. I don't want to do all that. I don't want to sit on the phone with insurance. I don't want to figure out
It's a
rejected claims.
hassle.
Exactly, right?
That's
I don't I
submit
don't want to do
claims
it.
and paperwork and calling them, like trying to extend, like this person why trying to explain to the insurance company why this person needs more sessions, and you trying to cut the sessions. Like nobody got time for
And you know,
that.
And you know what? I don't know what it is in Michigan. This is the other side of it, because I know some people deal with that too as therapists. I've been very fortunate enough with all of our insurance companies. Like, I've only had like one person that had like a weird plan that said they only get like 12 sessions a year or something weird. Like, everyone else just kind of pays it out.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's just because the demand in Michigan is like that huge or something weird. I don't really know. But like, I've been blessed not to have to deal with that. But even the few times I've had to for a rejected claim or whatever, I mean, my biller takes care of it and she figures it out. Or if I get a letter saying this was rejected, here, can you deal with this? And I don't have to think about it. So it works really well just for me, because I like doing the therapy. Um, And I really like doing the marketing. I notice that with therapists too, though. I do notice that a lot of times when I hear this, they like for things like marketing to be bought out or outsourced, but they tell me, well, learn to do your own billing. I did the opposite. I like being out there. I like being able to shake people's hands and be like, "How you doing?" Right? It's,
Mm-hmm.
so I also have a background previously. When I was in my 20s, I did a lot of like local politician style, whatever work, and that didn't work out. And I have a lot of trauma from that, which we can get into probably for the 5-time episode. So I don't like that anymore, but I love the aspect of like human connection. I love that
Mm-hmm.
aspect of just being able to meet people. And I think that's why I love social media so much too. I don't like numbers and billing. Like it's just not my thing at all.
No, no, of course. No, when I dealt with did outpatient therapy for a couple of years and calling insurance companies and faxing over documentation as to why this person needs additional sessions. I was like, that's too much. It's too. It's
So
annoying.
let me tell you this. Okay, so here's how a lot of this went down. So I think in the last episode I talked about how I quit my job, I think. So you guys can check out that for that full story. But basically, like I quit my job to go into like full-time private practice, and yay, here we are. And so like I had this plan for like I said, okay, in 6 months I'm gonna be out of here, okay? And then like I saw all excuse my language. Can I cuss on here? I don't know if can I cuss here?
It was on YouTube, not supposed to. I'm
Oh,
trying
then
to
I need to
monetize
cuss.
the YouTube.
Okay, I have a word I like to say, but you're gonna have to go to my TikTok then and hear it then. So I'll try not to. But basically, there's a lot of we'll call it BS then, but I have another word for it now. So we have instead of BS, I call it FS. So
Okay.
that's what I call it. Yeah. So so yeah. So anyway, so there was a lot of stuff going on where I was like, I saw this unethical stuff going on. I was like, okay, my 6-month plan just turned to 3 months or 2 months or whatever. I kid you not, best. The day I found out that they were like, oh, you have to like call this insurance company and do this authorization and you have to put this through. And I said, well, what? I said, don't we have a billing team here? I thought, oh, we do, but we do that. And I was like, and I put two and two together, and the duties that the billing team didn't want to do, I found out they gave it to social work because they underpaid us like so much that I realized that it's better just financially to give it to us than just have the billing team figure it out. And I was just like, oh, I said, oh, hell no, because I'm not touching, I am not hopping on these phones for anything. Like the second you put me in charge of billing, I tell people like it's going to be a problem, right? The most I do in my practice is collect my copays, and occasionally I lose track of those, and I have to charge the card a little late, and I'm like, here you go. That's all I'm willing to touch at this point in my life.
No, that no, it's a lot of stuff that goes into, and again, kudos to you. Congrats on running a practice and just how it really blew up in such a like a short period of time, and it's I see therapists online who's like starting their private practices and no, but I do warn private practices that they will have to do some sort of case management work when in terms of dealing with insurance, and there's like we got a housing crisis going on. Is like all this the emergency referendum that ended in April this year, and it's like I said, people are really struggling out there, and it's only going to get worse.
They
Um,
no, they are right, and so well. This is something I'm finding too is that a lot of people are leaving these community mental health agencies. Where, mind you, they're supposed to get therapy and medication and case management and peer support and all that. The
mm,
problem is they've underpaid and stressed out the whole staff. They're not getting those. They're either
mm,
not getting the quality or they're not getting those at all. So a lot of these people who are going to community mental health, they're actually going to private practice because they know, okay, I'm only going to get therapy here. Maybe I'm not going to get case management. Maybe I'll
mm,
only get therapy, but I know I'm going to get some decent work here done finally if I can get into this practice. So a
right.
lot of these places that you hear like that, why don't they just go to community mental health? That's why they're not supporting them at all in most cases, right? Few exceptions will apply. Don't nobody come and sue me, but like No one come and sue me for what I'm saying, but you know it's true. About 75%, give or take, of community mental health organizations, they aren't doing anything for their people. And this has been well documented, even just by government research, and the government's even like not even funding some of these places anymore because it's just getting that bad, right?
Mhm.
So they're coming to you as a private practice therapist. They're coming to you. And so one of the first things I would tell people, if they have a private practice, whether they're solo, have a group, right? Get you an intern and maybe get you two interns. Maybe. I have three interns, right? And this is before we like expanded into like, getting more therapists. This is me as a solo practitioner in June. Wayne State University contacts me here in Detroit, and they're like, "Do you want to take some people?" And I was like, sure." I didn't think that'd be on my radar for like a year. When I tell you, I have the best first year interns ever that are like, I have one designing a coaching program right now. I have another one reaching out to foster care agencies and doing case management for our people. And these people don't have to worry about cost or nothing of any of this, right? And then I have one, she's doing her own therapy stuff, finishing up her hours right now. And she's helping design like a group therapy program, all the things that I just don't have time to do. And they're just wanting to do and learn and absorb. And all they want is my feedback. It is like the greatest thing ever. And then it's really cool because now it's not so lonely in private practice anymore. Because that's the one thing you hear about is like you don't get people
Yes.
around you or nothing. I have that now. Like I get to do that, and I get to check in, see how they're doing, and I give them my feedback, and then I go. And they're the best interns I could ever have for my first year doing this too.
No, that's great. How did how did the university contact you? Like how was that relationship like?
Like, I mean, so I don't know where they found me, maybe social media or something, I don't know, but they emailed me. And so one of the representatives just emailed me and they wanted to know if I'd be interested in it, right? Um, and so my situation was like, I don't have the physical space. Like you can see my space back here. Like I have this room and then I have a hallway and then I have a smaller rooms. And when we first started, I had the smaller room. So we had started with one room. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have like an intern room. So my big thing was like, well, they have to be remote. They have to be independent and they have to just be remote if we're going to do this because there's just no way. There's no way.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of people are like returning back to in person and all that. And they were fine with that. They were, yep, they can do it. And so what I told myself was this. I was not, so my interns are not paid. I'm going to put that out there just for the record because I know this is a topic in social work. I told myself I wasn't going to be in a place where I would take on interns until I could pay them. But then it came to me a little bit early. So here's what I decided to do. I told them, if I'm going to take your interns right now, first of all, they're going to be remote. And my interns very much appreciate that. And then I told them that they get to make their own schedules. I'm not going to be in charge of their schedule. I'm not going to say you need to be here at this time because at the end of the day, you're working and you're working for free. And they will sit here and say, a internship ain't a job. Yes, it is. Okay. I was busting my ass at my internship and I love doing it, but I busted my ass at my internship when I was out there. Right. And so I said, they're going to be making their own schedules and they can contact me whenever they want. I don't really care. Right. Me and my wife both handle that and they're great. Right. And the other thing too is, you know, they're just going to get to have the flexibility of their lives and there's going to be no questions asked about it. Just put your notes in, do your thing, whatever. And we're going to check in with them regularly and all that. And they said that was fine. And so we have an internship that actually fits into your school schedule and into your family life. So
Mm.
it is like, so
Kudos
it
to you
is,
for that. where
yeah,
where were you in like freaking 2009?
bro. Listen, like, and the reason I did that, it like I had like especially my MSW internship, I had a really good internship, right? And so I had a great leader that got me really great experience, and I got to go to Lansing, our capital, and I got to talk with Congress people about raising funds for stuff, and it was a great first year. And so I took all the traits of my internship that I love, and I just said, well, what was I missing out of that internship? And it really just was like being able to just decide when you're going to do what, have the ability to, like, if you're seeing people, move your people on days you need to, just having that flexibility. I have one intern, how they do this is they report their work schedules to me, and if they need to change it, they just tell me what's up, and that's it. No questions asked. I don't care. I have one intern, she doesn't even have a work schedule. She just does tasks, and she just reports the hours she does, and if she needs something else to do, she tells me. And I love that because she gets to be able to still be a mom and still be able to do stuff, right?
Mm.
And so what they're doing right now with our internship program is they're actually, ironically, so since this is our first year we're doing it, they're actually, part of their internship is to give me drafts of policies and feedback so we can create a more structured internship program. So next year the next year the people come in, they're going to get a way better experience. And by next year, we want to be paying our interns too. So that's
Mm.
really what we're working towards. So they're actually helping, like, create the change even in my organization right now.
Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
That's really great. I guess it will help with recruiting for the school if you want to go to that university for your MSW program, and there you go. They help with your business too. So that's really it's kind of like a win-win all the way around.
It's awesome, right? It's definitely a win for me, right? Because I have all these ideas, right? That I just genuinely don't have time to draft them. I don't have to, like, implement them and draft them fully anymore, just because everything going on. But I know, like, it's a part of my practice I want, right? So, like, when I mentioned the coaching program earlier, right? So by this time next year, what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to take this executive functioning program, and whether it's therapy, mix of therapy and coaching, we're working details out. But basically, we want to take this program to companies like GM and like Ford. They just got off their strikes and whatnot, right?
Hmm.
And we want to basically offer help to their employees who maybe are struggling with workplace well-being and productivity and things like that. So basically, like, we're providing ADHD therapy without labeling it ADHD, because there's a whole stigma about in the ADHD community
Yes.
where if you label yourself as ADHD, you are further at risk of being fired and things like that and being discriminated against, as I've seen with myself in many different cases and whatnot, right? So we want to be able to provide help, because here's the thing: you call it executive functioning, even though it's not technically exclusive to ADHD. 80% of the people that go to it are ADHD, or they have ADHD traits, or they have similar ADHD struggles. So we want to provide these people their help without being at the risk of being discriminated against,
Mm.
essentially, while also having their company pay for it too. Which in turn, if you look at the model, right, a company like Ford is probably willing to pay out for something like this for one-on-one coaching help in a variety of settings they've done before. They're probably willing to pay anywhere between $200 and $300 a session, which is going to make my contracted therapist much more wealthy too.
That's good. And that's part of the going back to the scaling of the business, and you're already thinking ahead of like what possibly could be next. And your relationship with the university that you have now kind of could even like potentially put pressure on other grad schools within the state, or even around the surrounding areas, and help them like step up to the plate and realize that this is a model a model to model. Put it that way.
Bass, honestly, like, I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do it, because I'm like trying. I think I'm weird because I know, like, what to do day to day, and I have these big, like, 3-5 year visions, but I don't know, like, that 6 month marker, right? It's like hard for me to conceptualize that with my ADHD for some reason. But literally, what I want to do within the next, like, year or two is, like, I want to be in a place where right now we have three of them. People told me I shouldn't take on three. I'm energized that they're here, so it doesn't really affect me like that, right? But I want to be in a place where we could take, like, at least 8 to 10 interns on, like, an even load of, like, 4 BSW, 4 MSW type of thing, right? Because I want eventually to this place be not only the place for ADHD treatment, but I want to be the place, like, you want to do your internship at. Like, you
Mm.
actually hear about this place and you bug your site director about it. And it's like, can I go here? And, they tell you, I don't know what it's like everywhere else, but around here, for some reason, the schools are like, you don't get to pick your internship. And they try to tell me that too. And I got to pick my internship, but that's a whole, yeah. So, like, I want them to be that place where, like, they're emailing their people, like, send me here, send me here. Like, my friend went there and loved it, and I want to go there, and I want to learn about, ADHD and neurodiverse affirming care too. Because part of what we're doing too is like not only we're just teaching them the fundamentals of social work, we're teaching them how to build a business too. And this is what we're doing for our contracted therapists too, is we're trying to so basically what our business model is, I guess I should go back a little bit. We are hiring a lot of individuals who basically want to go into private practice. So what we want to do is, if you want to stay with us, great. That's awesome. Love that. Love that we make that easy for you. I know that a lot of therapists want to start their own thing and just don't really know how. And so we not only want to pay you well, but we want to also send you on your way when you're ready. So if you start having questions like, well, how do you get hooked up with insurance? Well, let me hook you up with my biller and credentialer who did it all for me. And she's going to get you set up. And when you're ready to leave, you just let me know who you're keeping, who you're not, and have a nice day, and let's have lunch sometime. That's literally what I want to do. I want to build my practice up so big that then it like floods out and we get more people, and then it floods out and we create smaller practices for people, because I'm a firm believer in the fact that a lot of these smaller practices that you see around, they're doing way better work than the community mental health around here. They're definitely doing better work than some of the tech companies that have come in that are bigger. And I just think that we need it. I think we need a lot more smaller practices that are more homegrown as opposed to ran by these bigger corporations.
Right. So it's almost like how they talk about in like sports, like Bill Belichick, for example, and he had all these assistant coaches who became their own head coaches, and people call them the Belichick tree. So you want to be like the private practice tree, coming like straight from you, and have them open their own private practices if they choose to.
Yeah, basically. Like I said, if you want to stay here, great. If you don't, or your dream is to have your own private practice like mine, why would I stop you from that? What good is that, having you leave out the door wanting to start your own and then having this awkward encounter and then being like, can you keep your people or not? No. So one of the things we do immediately, we don't just make sure we do it, we make sure we make it clear to them as soon as we hire them. We don't do a no compete. We don't do none of that. You want to take your people, just go ahead and do your thing, right?
Mm.
If you don't, you want to stay here, we make it easy. We give you really cool people. We give you, good marketing support and billing support, and you think the percentage is worth it that we take, great, awesome. You find at a point where you're ready to do it on your own, let me know. I'm gonna teach you how to do it. And then the other thing that we do offer too for our contractors we're hiring right now, so we do a fee split model. Basically, how we do it is we don't have our clinicians sign a no compete. And so one of the things that we'll also do is, when you come and see me, right, like I make sure my consulting services are cheap, especially for people who are newer to the field. And that's not even a money making thing for me. That's not like scarcity. I just want to make resources accessible to newbies trying to get in this field, because a lot of people have like a lot of expensive programs and nobody has the one-on-one work. And I think that's really what people need, right? So for me, right, my consulting is like 150 an hour. You can either pay me that, or let's say I offer you, let's say 70%, right? 70% fee split. You can decide, hey, why don't I do a 5% decrease, do 65%, and I can meet with you once a month for consulting for marketing, because I want to learn this, right? I want to learn this path. So you're going to work with me, and you're going to work for our practice, and I'm going to hook you up. And if that's literally your end goal of like, in 2 years I want to do this, then I'm going to support that and literally sit with you for 12, 24, 36 months if that's what you choose, right? Until you're ready to go. And if you just want to be here and not do all that, and just you want to figure it out on your own, whatever, it's up to you. My goal is ultimately to support you getting to where you want to be.
No, I like that because we always, seem to struggle with our businesses, how to even start a business, but something like private practice, how to start, and like how to get the clients, how to market. You try to get the clients, and for you to actually show people how to do it is a game changer.
Yeah, I've always said this, right? I've always wanted to be a professor, and now I've learned just through people who do professor like jobs. I don't really want to be a professor based on what they teach. Like, they don't get to have a lot of creativity or anything really with it. And so, for me, I love being able to teach. I love being able to mentor, and I love being able to inspire. And so for you, if you already have this preconceived goal of, oh, I want my own private practice and, whatever, and I can make that happen for you, right? then that's really what I want to do. The group practice that I was a part of, massive practice, by the way. That's exactly what they did. They literally would just let you go, no questions asked, just take them whenever you're ready, do whatever. I wanted to take that a step forward. I wanted to actually be the one that sits with you and you feel okay talking to me about, well, how do you do this? How do you how do you market? How do you throw an open house? How do I know what type of office space do I need? Do I need office space or anything like that, right? How much is the EMR system, right? These are all questions that a lot of people don't necessarily get to ask the practice owners because they're in fear of what that practice owner is going to think. And honestly, to tell you the truth, a lot of practice owners, especially smaller ones, they don't really care either. They understand why you want to go and do your own thing, and they'll even help you too. But I want to be that one that tells you right from the get go, if you want to do this, let me sit with you and tell you how you're going to market yourself. So I'm going to market for you. I'm going to get you your people. But I'm gonna teach you how to do it yourself too, so you can double the time. And instead of being here for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe you can be here in a year and then move on. And then take some neurodiverse people with you too, because that's the point of my practice too, is being able to get people who are friendly with ADHD people, autistic people, things like that. That's kind of like my main thing, as far as like from the therapy side, because there's a lot of people that, especially with ADHD, there's not a lot of ADHD specialists out there, and a lot of times they're thrown in with generalists. So I'm going to teach you how to run a successful business, and I'm going to teach you how to be okay with people with ADHD, even if that's not necessarily your specialty or not. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Especially with kids, that we see more and more kids nowadays. You know, being whether it's the right diagnosis or not, get the ADHD labels strapped onto them as early as 6 years
Mm.
old, and for someone who to get that experience with that would be very helpful. Um, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say too, like, on the flip side of it too, because a lot of people come to me and they think that it's a lot of people who, they have ADHD and they're looking for that validation or whatever. That is a part of it, but there's a good portion of people I have, of people, they don't really know what they have, and we kind of work with them, and I help them decipher what is ADHD, because I'm a firm believer in a lot. So this is like a conversation where you have to actually go into the depths of like the ADHD social media community, and it's a lot of deciphering. So it's gonna, like, it would take forever to explain it fully. But basically, there's a lot of people in the ADHD community. It's either one way or the other. Either they hate that you take meds and they think, well, us taking meds is whatever, or it's like, if you don't take meds, you're like setting us back because no one can get access to meds, right? I'm very person-centered with my approach. I'm very like, whatever's going on with you is going on with you
Mhm.
individually, right? So for me, a lot of people that come in and you have these kids that say, "Oh, I have ADHD." We've ruled out ADHD for people actually, and been like, "Actually, this is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm not the expert on it, but here's what I'm seeing. Maybe go check out this person." And then they find out, oh, that actually is what's going on, and they get on their right meds and they get the
Mhm.
right type of therapy they need and things like that. So it's not just people coming into my practice like, oh, you're just validating they have ADHD so they get meds. That's really not it at all. I've ruled it out for people too.
Gotcha. No, that's so important. Now, I want to go back. So you got your practice with your wife?
So my practice is ran by me and my wife. So she is my operations officer. So she helps with a lot of, behind the scenes stuff, things kind of like that. I do a lot more of the therapy and the marketing side. And then in January, she's actually coming on part time as a therapist too. So we're both social workers actually.
Oh, nice. How is it running a business with your wife?
It is honestly the best. I honestly couldn't imagine doing it with anybody else. It's someone who really gets me. It's someone who really gets, my quirks and my strengths and just my areas that just make me just very irritated. And sometimes to tell you the truth, sometimes I get fed up on just things that I probably shouldn't be, right? And I just like it. And she knows me just better than anyone. And she knows how to calm me down, and she knows how to just be there for me. So for me, I couldn't ask for anyone better to work with. Honestly, I don't know if she can say this. You might have to ask if she can say the same thing about me, because I do get really passionate, a little just crazy about my business, right? So I don't know if she would say the same thing necessarily about me. I hope she would, but she definitely is somebody that keeps me leveled. Um, I think it's great, and honestly, it's a great. How do I say it? I like to think of my business almost as my hobby too, just because I've kind of outlined this for the last like 5, 6, 7 years of my life anyway. So to have somebody who like actually enjoys some of these parts while also, willing to take on the things I don't like and actually enjoys doing them too, right?
Mm.
It just works out really good for me.
And it's great. And just think of it as business as like outsourcing some of the stuff, and who better to outsource than your own wife that's in your
It,
business instead of paying
it
somebody
is
else.
it is the greatest thing ever, and honestly it's like, we just, I mean, it all goes to the house anyway, so I mean it doesn't really
Mm,
matter to us. And then
exactly.
yeah, it just, I don't know what else to say about it. It just works out really good for both of us, and I'm just very appreciative of her, and I love her so much. I couldn't imagine anyone else doing this with me.
That's great, and no, I'm happy for you guys and continued much success. Now, what if what's been going on related to social work in the state of Michigan? When I first had you on, the governor was like literally a victim of kidnapping
Yeah, we're kind of
or
chill
attempted
over
kidnapping.
Yeah, we're kind of chilled out over here. I mean, like, it's just like they need to fill our potholes over here. I'll say that. And our auto insurance is really stupid over here. But I think Michigan has the most expensive auto insurance in the country, actually, as far as the state as a whole goes. So yeah, our insurance is insane, and we need to get on that. But yeah, I mean, over here, other than that, I mean, it's just been pretty chill over here. There hasn't really been any craziness over here too much.
Gotcha. Uh, you're the perfect person to ask this question, and you probably get a rant going. Oh, it's like what's been like the recent topic in terms of social workers that's like driving you nuts that you can't stand and you want to like kind of like strangle a couple people.
Topic of discussion that makes me want to strangle people. Okay, this is a good one. Um, I don't know if it's necessarily about social workers, as
Or
much as
the
it's about
professionally.
therapists. Yeah, as much as about therapists, because social work, like social media has really, I feel like it's changed a lot in the last like 3 years from things that we're kind of seeing, right? And so, and obviously, like some of that has to do with the fact that we just had a whole wealth conference too. So I mean, views have definitely changed on how we look at money and how we do stuff like that. The things that drive me insane in the therapy realm, especially the private practice therapy realm, are these therapists that like, it's so weird to think about it like this, right? Because when I did employee stuff, I was all about like take care of yourself and like do your thing and leave on time. But like to me, like the reason I said that stuff is because I thought the people who ran the business, who owned it, they should be picking it up, right?
Hmm.
I believe that in my business. I believe I should be working. I don't think I should be working myself to burnout, but I do think that there's a lot of therapists out here in the private practice space. They want a six-figure business, and I just made a video on this on one of my other accounts actually. But they want a six-figure business, but they don't want to do six-figure entrepreneur work. And that's really a hot take that I probably have on this. They don't want to necessarily. They want a life of an employee while also reaping the benefits of an entrepreneur. And it just does not work that way. And so a lot of times I tell people, like, if you want this life, if you want to run a successful practice, you really have to put some elbow grease and some work into it. And it's not about being in hustle culture. It's about you own your own business now.
Hmm.
So if you just want something where you just take it on easy street, you clock in and out, you get really good benefits, then we go find you a really nice job to have. But if you really want to expand on something and grow and be in control of your complete destiny, that's a whole other game in and of itself. And so I see just a
Hmm.
lot of therapists, they just don't seem to grasp that idea because they look at private practice in a way of, oh, just making a little bit more money doing the same thing I've always done, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But if you're a solo practitioner, and let's say you made $40,000 to $50,000, and now you're in a private practice doing 20 hours a week, and you have let's say an availability of like, I want to work 10 to 3 because that's what everybody wants to do, right? They want to work 10 to 3 and just do their private practice and go. And that's fine, except you don't take insurance, you're not niche down, you don't know your stuff, you're a generalist. And then you're wondering why people aren't fitting into your availability. And then on top of it, half of them want to work with kids. So you don't want to work evenings, you don't want to work on weekends, you don't have a unique specialty, you want to work with all these people and you just want to be a generalist at it. Well, then that's not going to get you the people that you want in your availability. I'm sorry. It's just not going to do it. So that's like the one that's like irking me. And then people will tell me I'm wrong, but then they're out here struggling. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I see it. No, especially you seeing kids, the weekends, as much as it sucks, because I've done it and working late nights, and I've done it too, and that sucked too. You got to do it.
but see, but see, so it's multi-leveled, right?
Mm.
You don't have to do it. You
Right, you don't
can do
have to.
it.
Right, yeah.
You don't have to, but
But if
you
you
need
got
to
to see the
bring something to
clients,
the table. Well, you got to see the clients, but you gotta bring something to the table, right?
mm,
You can't just be Joe Schmo, not having an expertise in really anything, but oh, I like kids and just showing up. Like, and I'll tell you right now, like when I first got my practice started with like my group practice and then eventually my own practice, I'll tell you right now, evenings and weekends, I was doing both. I was doing 4 evenings a week. I'm still doing 4 evenings a week, by the way, just so we're all clear. I need to tell y'all where I'm at in a minute here. But I'm doing 4 evenings a week right now. And I'm talking like I'm doing till 9:30. So I'm not on here saying I'm on easy street. I'm busting right now, right? I was doing that and weekends at one point to make this work, right? And now we're off weekends. And then starting in January, we're cutting back our availability from 9:30 to about 6:30 because I live right around the corner from my block. So my commute home, I can see another person. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
instead of being home at 6:30 and whatever, I could just see someone till 6:30 and pull up in the driveway 2 minutes later. And it works really good for me, right?
right.
So we're literally in a place now where I can pivot that out. But it's because I put in that work, I figured out what my niche was. And I figured out what I'm an expert in, and people are willing to be a little more accommodating. I have some people who, you know, they have kids and a lot of them do after school and that's fine, but some of these kids, they want to get them into me, and so they have like not a doctor's note because I'm not a doctor, but like they'll have me write a note to their school and say, hey, such and such needs to be in therapy, and so once a week they're going to be pulled out of school a little early or something,
Mm,
and they're bringing me their children. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's children who are homeschooled and they can do their schooling whenever they want. So there are people out there for you, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to put the marketing work in. And I truly believe that marketing, aside from the clinical skills you get in private practice, of course, but the marketing piece is so much more important. Everybody else wants to do all these other things. Why are you not focusing on getting your brand out there? That's another thing.
right.
A lot of therapists don't want to do branding.
No, yeah, absolutely. I definitely see that in for myself, like the actual clinical therapy piece, like don't I'm trying to get out of that, but even doing more like the financial piece related to therapy, more so in terms of finances and stuff like that now. So yeah, because it was burning me, it was burning me out. I did it 2 years. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This is not for
Yeah,
me.
right, exactly, right. And that's kind of where I got to the point with evenings, right? Like I loved working evenings. I still love working evenings, by the way. I don't like working at 8, 9 in the morning. I just don't like it. But I realized working like, so I worked like, the afternoon into the evening. And now I've realized, oh, I kind of want to go to the gym and go hang out with maybe my friends or my wife right after work and we go do something now, as opposed to just working, right? So now I'm in that place where I position myself as an authority where I can do that. I'm doing the clinical director stuff. I'm being the expert in my own actual niche. And now I'm hiring starting therapists that are willing to put in the grit work too, whether it's weekends or whatnot, while they figure out what
Mm,
they want to do. And then they're going to eventually go through the same thing in about a year or two. They're going to be tired of this and they're going to want to work weekends and it's whatever. And if you want to start with that schedule, like I said, go for it. But you either need to have an expertise, you either have to know how to market and be willing to do it, or you got to have patience. And for some reason, therapists don't have either of those three, but they expect results to just show up because I have a license and I'm available.
mhm.
And they ain't available for you if you're like that.
Yeah, the patience is so underrated and is like really like I understand you it's like people kind of like waiting for the opportunities, or sometimes you gotta create the opportunities, but it's also you gotta mix in to have the patience. If it doesn't work, like the timing is not there, like it's all about sometimes it's all about timing. So it's just interesting where we at, and like I said, the hustle culture plays into it a little bit, and like just we know that there's money to be made, and just trying to figure out what's the best way to try to make that money at the same time, like have like the actual self care, not use it as a buzzword, and
Yeah,
just do the work, make your money, while still try to live, because we're no, it's it's a struggle out there.
it is, and it's so funny because I don't think a lot of therapists and entrepreneurs, I don't think a lot of them even know what the word, some of them anyway, they don't even know what the word self care means and what it can actually apply to, right? Because if you ask them that, immediately they think of like, oh, taking breaks and taking vacations and taking blah blah blah, whatever. Self care for me as an entrepreneur, first of all, is therapy. Self care for me is also my business coaches. Self care for me is taking time to invest in knowledge to harvest my business, right?
Hmm.
In addition to exercise and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but a lot of people just think of it as self care as, oh, it's a really super cute, fun thing that you do. And it's not. It's actually, it's a series of things, right? So for me, my self care, which is going to be my self care tomorrow, actually, or no, not tomorrow, but Sunday, I have an online course that I've been needing to do. And that is about 12 hours long. And I'm going to knock some of it out. And I'm making time for myself to do that online course. So investing in your own personal growth and your education, that is crucial to your self-care journey as an entrepreneur.
No, absolutely, which is why I like the having the networking piece, and why we did the social work wealth conference, and like literally opportunity came immediately, like right after that. And so it's like, things happen, and things have their timing, and it's just we all out here struggling. Like I always put it on LinkedIn. We got like a brewing like civil war in social work happening, and it's like we we
Wait,
we all
did you
we
say,
all
wait, did I hear you right? Did you say we have a civil war and social work on LinkedIn? Did I hear that right?
we have like I see we have I always write that we have a civil war brewing in social work on LinkedIn.
Oh, I thought shit was going down on LinkedIn. Oh my god.
It matches. It might
Oh
as
my
well.
god. Listen,
Even
I could do
LinkedIn's
a whole,
changed for like the last like year or so.
okay, because like, can we talk? One, we're gonna have to like wrap it up though. I feel like because that's gonna take like 45 minutes to talk. But like the LinkedIn influencers, I'm just gonna be so real. They just like they make me laugh. But I
Why?
think it's because I'm on TikTok where we're not so professional and polished. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
I like hear them talk, and I'm just like, they say this really nice polished thing, and then they're over on Instagram like, "F you." Like, and it's just weird to me. And so, like, you get into an argument with someone on LinkedIn, and you just gotta like literally, like, if I get into an argument with someone on LinkedIn, it's like super like APA format and formatted like that and whatever. And I go over to like my TikTok, and like someone sent me like I get death threats on my TikTok. So it's
What?
like, oh my god, I got, it's been a while, but I got one for the first time like last week in like almost a year. I think I used to get them a lot, like
That's
just a lot.
insane. How do you deal with
Yeah,
that?
I have a morbid sense of humor, so I think it's funny. I shouldn't think it's funny, but like it's usually like it's like faceless profiles from like probably a 10-year-old. Like they don't even know where I live. They don't know who I am. So they're just trolls that post stuff on there. It's like Twitter. They just post stuff on Twitter all the time or X or whatever, you know, like it's whatever. But it's like, but it's just like the first time it happened, they were like it was like 2 years ago. Was it like 2 years ago? Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. And they like someone like DM'd me like on my Instagram from the TikTok, and they were like saying all these things and whatever, and it was just like weird. But usually it's just people commenting like, "You're ugly, go die." Like you just like, so it's like you can tell it's just from someone who's like 10 or
Right.
something.
Right.
But yeah, like I think to be on social media, like if you're not on it already, I think you have to have like a really strong backbone in who you are as a person. And like I've trained to be on social media since honestly I was 12. Like that's what I want. I thought I was gonna be, I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I grew up in the era where like I grew up like at the peak of like MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, all of it came together. So my whole life and my whole childhood has been on social media. So that's what we've all wanted to do. And I've just like, when I say I've studied the craft of it since I was 12, so we're talking like 17 years of this already. Like that's way more, that's way more than my social work career actually. So I've like figured out like things just already, like what goes viral, what doesn't, what's going to get a response, what's not going to get a response, what's going to get me a negative response, what's going to pick up good, right? And so, and I figured that out to the point now where, like, if you look at my ADHD Instagram page, I started picking that up, and that has succeeded my main account that I've had on here for a while. Because when I first got started on here, I was still figuring out what I wanted to do with my social work account, and it took me like 3 years to get 2,500 people. It took me 4 months to get almost 3,500 people on that page now. Like it's just crazy the growth you're seeing over there. But with that growth comes a lot of people on that flip side. They're gonna tell you you're fat or you're a loser or you're ugly or whatever. And it just is what it is.
Yeah, it's I love social media, but it's sometimes it's just like some of the stuff I see, especially now. Like we go back to the social wealth conference, is just seeing like even like the whole thing now with the girls like complaining that she got taken out to the restaurant, and it's like, bro, like we
Yeah,
we don't have time to be like, who cares?
exactly. Oh my God. Can I tell you real quick the funniest thing someone ever told me on TikTok was, though?
What?
Someone, I don't know who the hell this was, some 12-year-old or something, but someone told me on one of my videos last year I looked like the type of kid in elementary school that would go get the kids cupcake at their birthday party, like when they brought the cupcakes in, I would go get a cupcake, eat it, and you just look like someone that would go get a second one. And I was like, what the and that was like the funniest thing that I sent it to every one of my friends. And even my friends were like, I mean, that's relatable, yeah. That's so true.
It's insane. Like, I mean, I joke with my friends on social media all the time. I see some a meme, like even like trashing like my own teams and send it and forward it. It's like, yo, this is hilarious. Like, I didn't forward it.
It was just like the great. I just was like, it was just so random, and it was just so extra to just say like I'm fat, and I just thought it was great. Like I thought it was. I actually thought it was creative.
I was like, you should hire that person. Like, write the captions for me.
Exactly. I don't know where this podcast episode went, by the way, but like, you know, I don't know. Just get thick skin if you're gonna go on social media at all. That's all I'm saying.
No, yeah, that stuff I've been meaning to post, and like time goes so fast, and it was like, and it's stuff kind of like personal stuff, but related to finance, and like I just need to do it, and whatever whatever the backlash is gonna be. Oh well, like I'm trying to like mention build the brand and like get these customers somehow because I need to make this additional income.
Exactly.
I got student loans to pay.
We all we all do. Oh my god, my student loans don't know where I'm at though. I swear to God, like they don't know where I'm at, and it's not my fault. But I've moved so much that like my wife got her student loan packet, and I never got mine, and I don't even know where my loans are through. And I've deferred them so much that then COVID hit, so then I got an extra deferment. So now is the time I'm finally supposed to pay them, right? So I'm like budgeting to pay for them. I don't know who to send a check to.
Yeah, go to studentaid.gov and it'll tell you who your lender is.
I don't know. I did that last year, and it didn't tell me anything.
Well, the student loans, you most people would have Mohelia, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know.
you gotta go to
I'm not.
studentaid.gov and it should tell you. on it. Like you just put in your name and your birthday or social whatever, and it should
This is
pop
this
up.
is not a pro don't pay your student loans post, by the way, just so everybody's clear. This is literally me. Like I started social work before I had a full prefrontal cortex, and then I just deferred them, and then COVID hit right when I was going to be a responsible adult, and then they finally just are like, now you got to pay them, and now I'm like, wow, I didn't even. I graduated at the worst possible time. Let's just say that. Like, so
See,
I'm like,
now you need to go to my YouTube, and I made some videos related to student loans,
hang
and
on.
gave like a whole like bootleg presentation on student loans, which
I
I
know the
actually
payment I know the payment for everyone wants to know. It's like $600 a month. I'm like, yeah, I know what I have to pay.
yeah. Why don't you do
Yeah.
the SAFE program,
The what?
the new SAFE program that came out?
Best, I have ADHD. That requires me to call numbers
That's why you got
and
a wife
like
to support you and help you. Like
she has ADHD too, though. We did not plan
it's
that.
an online website. It's like
Listen, we
just
have
look up the
different people
SAVE
on here.
program.
Listen, we have different people for a reason. Like you have me to teach you how to make
Six hundred
money.
dollars.
We have Eva Ford to teach you how to invest money. There's Alex Costello that'll teach you how to save money. And so I know how to make money.
We need to save.
And
We
now
need
I'm
to save you
turning
a couple
30. I'm being,
dollars. We need to
yeah,
save
I'm
you these
being, this
couple
is like the
dollars.
first year. Oh, yeah, this is like the first year, like, I'm learning how to be responsible with my money. So in about 4 years, I'm going to come back on this podcast and I'm going to tell y'all how to invest money.
But shoot, who knows if I'm gonna make it 4 years on a I hope so. But
You're
this
going,
time,
you're, you're going to make it
definitely
to
my
4
ties
years.
is my by then.
You're, you're going to make it to 4 years.
Well, it's gonna be like for already like almost 4 years
Yeah,
coming.
yeah. You're gonna be have like a decade podcast. I'm telling you right now. Maybe you can produce mine too. Like I'm trying to. I'm so sick of like setting mine own up, but I'm coming back with mine. So make sure you guys check out mine too eventually. But, yeah.
Oh man! On that note, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me if you want to check out my therapy content. You can look up ADHD Therapist J over on Instagram or TikTok. And then on Instagram, if you want to look up my therapy business stuff, that's going to be at therapist underscore marketing underscore J. That recently changed, and my TikTok's going to change to that too. Um, I tried to change it recently, and at the date of this recording, it says you can't change your name for 2 more weeks. But eventually, it'll be that. So just look it up in about a month.
Cool. So no breaking news. I just gave Justin a way to try to save on his student loans. That goes for anybody too. This is,
You did.
Biden did the new Save plan.
Right,
Go on studentaid.gov.
right.
Go. No, most people should have Mohelia. Unfortunately, they fucking suck. But yeah, so they handled it. If you're under PSLF, is most people should have Mohelia. They're the ones who's handling it, and they're super
I'm gonna
slow and they're annoying and frustrating.
I'm gonna tell my wife as soon as this episode drops to listen to it, so she knows to tell me.
You could go back and listen to it. Like fast
I
forward,
know.
where did
I
Bass
know.
tell me about the safe plan?
I know. I'm gonna listen to it when you upload this. I'm gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta do that. Oh my god.
On that note, to next time. For no, who knows when number 4 is gonna be, but it'll be soon. Maybe
It'll be soon.
maybe time for Mania.
I was gonna say we could do a WrestleMania episode or something.
Related to social work somehow. Like it's the straight
Oh my
perspective
god.
of these wrestlers performing in WrestleMania.
Oh my god.